Hi class, Mrs. Matheson here. Unit 3, Notes 3, Proving Triangles Congruent is today's lesson. And our learning target is I can use triangle congruence postulates and theorems to prove that triangles are congruent. So today in our video we're just going to learn what those are. A postulate is a statement that describes a fundamental relationship between basic terms of geometry. Postulates are accepted to be true without proof. Okay, so that just means if we have a postulate, it's true. A theorem is a statement or a conjecture that can be proven true by undefined terms, definitions, and postulates. So we're going to learn some congruent statements today. Our first one is side, side, side congruence. If the three sides of one triangle are congruent to the three sides of a second triangle, then those triangles are congruent. We know congruent means that they are going to be equal. Okay, so we can say AB, in this picture, AB is congruent to DE. And we know that based off the picture. BC is going to be congruent to EF. And AC is going to be congruent to DF. So if all three sides are congruent, then we can say triangle ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. So you know if all three sides are congruent that these triangles are going to be congruent and therefore their corresponding parts are also going to be congruent. Then we also have side angle side congruence. In a side angle side congruence states if two sides and the included angle of one triangle are congruent to the two sides and the included angle of the second triangle, then the triangles are congruent. So when we talk about included angle, that's the one that's between, here's the angle between the two sides. Okay, and we're not saying that the two sides in the triangle are congruent to each other. We are saying that they are congruent to the other triangle. So if we look here, we're going to start here with this side is congruent to this side. So AB is congruent to DE, and their included angle, so that's in between the two, those two, angle B is congruent to angle E. And then if we have that other side, BC is congruent to EF. So if you have two sides and the angle between them, this is a side angle side congruence. So we can say triangle ABC is congruent to DEF. Very important that it's the one inside between the two angles. All right. On the this side, then we have angle side angle congruence. So if the two angles and the included side, so this time we're talking about the side in between the two angles, are congruent to two angles and the included side of another triangle, then the triangles are congruent. Again, it's very important that you see that these sides are in between the two sets of angles. So if angle A is congruent to angle D, side AB is congruent to DE, and then angle B is congruent to angle E. So an angle, an included side, and an angle, we know that ABC is congruent to triangle DEF. All right, so the last one we're going to talk about is angle, side, angle, 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 side. All right, so if two angles and the non-included side, so this one is not included, the one triangle are congruent to the corresponding angles and the second angle of the let's try that again. If two angles and the non-included side of one triangle are congruent to the corresponding angles and side of a second triangle, then these two triangles are congruent. So angle A is congruent to angle D, angle B is congruent to angle E, and then side BC is congruent to side EF. Then we know that ABC is congruent to DEF. So we have triangle congruences that are side, side, side. We have side, angle, side. We have angle, side, angle. And then we have angle, angle, side. There are two congruent statements that you will never see. We will never see triple A, so angle, 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 and we will never see any donkeys. So use your imagination. You can come up with what that would be. So if you ever write those down, you know that this is not an angle congruence. All right, so looking at the examples, um, I'll just do the first one with you. Can you prove that the following triangles are congruent? If so, which congruent statement? Side, 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 angle, side, angle, and angle, angle, side. Well, I see that we have these two sides are congruent. We have these two sides congruent. And then we also have these two sides congruent. So I have a set of sides that matches up with set of sides in the other one. So yes, we can prove this is congruent by side, side, side. You have 3 more problems here, B, C, and D. And I want you to see if you can come up with those are congruent. And we will talk about those congruent statements in class. And then 2, it's a little bit of a review problem, so go ahead and give that a try. So short video today, and we will talk to you guys when we have class.